How you guys doing? It's me again, Robert Johnson. I'm here to give you my review for episode 6. Sorry, it took a few days. I'm far away from home right now. Talk about the setting. Um, Episode 6. So I had to download this thing, and unfortunately, there were so many spots that it was not a full download. So there's like, you're watching it, and then all of a sudden it skipped like 30 seconds to a minute ahead. So I pull it back. Every time I pull it back in that little gap that was like missing, my whole player would turn off. It's like, oh my god. So I'm missing dialect that may have been important, which is fine, or dialogue, whatever. Okay, so what we talk about with this one? Just a reminder to people that this is a review, and if you haven't watched the episode, it's gonna be spoilers. So if you don't want to, spoil the viewing of it, stop this and go watch the show instead of watching this kind of stuff. Anywho, let's see here. So let's recap. Henry blows his brains out after killing Sam. Okay, so the brothers are dead. Starts off with this man who had just returned from hunting, getting some rabbits and stuff like that. His wife is in his cottage thing. They're in a remote area. Joe pretty much surprises him that, like, hey, I got a gun pointed on you. You're going to point it on this map, and it better be the same answer as your wife. Where are we? And I need help going where I'm going. So all that was, it was nice and friendly for the situation of what it is, right? So she made him soup and everything. He was kind of like, the hell feeling. Anyways, I'm meaning the husband, not Joe. So much like I mentioned before, it's like they take so much of the game and they cram it all into this one episode, right? So that's pretty much what they did again. So not only did he meet up with Tommy, he also made it to Colorado's university. Now, with both scenes being mentioned, segments, no infected spotted. Again, I'm sure that the director, the writer, they're going to catch a lot of flack for that again. But you know what? It's not always about that kind of stuff. It isn't. It's the story that we're trying to follow here, what's going on. So there were raiders that showed up. We'll get to that in a second. For the part where he finds the dam, where basically they know they cross that river, it's death after that river. They cross the river, they get surrounded by these people, and then these people take them back to their, can't think of the name of the word there, their area, we'll call it for now. While they're there, that's where the reuniting of Tommy and Joel take place and everything. This is also where you learn, or where, oh my god, I'm drawing a complete blank right now. It's also where Ellie learns that Joel has a daughter, Sarah, and Sarah passed away. Tommy's married to Maria. So all this stuff starts coming to light and everything. So Ellie says something to Joel about, like, I'm not her. I'm not your daughter. And that's where Joel said, you know what, in the morning you're going with Tommy. That's it, we're done, because Ellie overheard Tommy and Joel speaking, and Joel filling in Tommy what's really going on, what's happened, what's like with Ellie, the bite, not being immune and stuff. So with all that being said, she challenged him about, like, why don't you ditch me or something like that. He never quite acknowledged in a way that you would expect. It was classic type of, like, you know what, you're not her, like, whatever. Now in the game, Ellie steals a horse, takes off, and then Joel and Tommy, they jump on horses and they follow the tracks all the way to a remote cottage, remote house in the middle of nowhere type of thing. In this case, Tommy and Ellie were on their way to do their little travels to Colorado. They find Joel, and Joel saying he's stealing the horse. So he explained that he was there about half an hour prior, and then he said, it's not fair for me to just ditch you like that. So I want to give you a choice. And then Ellie kind of slams a bag on him and says, let's go. Right? So it's almost like, sometimes when someone says something that they don't mean, when you don't think before you speak, you can say something hurtful. But when you take yourself some time, like overnight, sometimes it gives you time to think about what the whole scenario or situation is, and you can come up with a better solution, right? So let that be a lesson for people in life in general. Sometimes you just need to bite your tongue and just walk away, and then you can come up with a better solution or a better way of communicating. So anyways, they share the horse, they take off, they go to Colorado. Now once they get to Colorado, what happens is they're checking out the university, right? Now, as they're going through the university, there's a spot that they start hearing noises. So they'll go upstairs, they go check to see, like, what the hell is this? It was not what you think it is. There was no infected, which is weird because in the game there are infected. But there's monkeys, right? Now, once again, there's things that are cut off like so many times. So there's a lot of stuff I missed here. But with the monkeys, there's the one-liner, and it kind of reminds me of something she says in the game about maybe all the researchers have turned into monkeys. There was signs that the fireflies were there. So they're looking. Well, all of a sudden, they look out the window. I guess Joe heard something. He looks out the window, and there's a group of raiders that are walking near the buildings. Now, in the game, there's a part that happens that Joe gets stabbed, and then he has to try to get out. Ellie ends up walking up and shooting the guy in the head at the bottom of the escalator kind of thing, and then like try to get on the horse and blah blah blah. It's not the game, it's the show. So what happened here was this guy comes out of nowhere with a wooden bat, goes to swing at Joe. He hits a tree. They're already outside by the horse, and then there's a little a fight going on here. Ellie pulls out a gun ready to shoot the guy. Joel ends up putting the guy in like basically a headlock and snaps the guy's neck and drops him. But he's standing there like just kind of stunned out. Ellie looks, and sure enough, he's got a piece of the bat, the broken handle part, which is only about that big, but it's like a shiv, and it's wedged right inside one of the more dangerous spots in his stomach, right? Maybe close to the appendix or whatever. There's scenes that during the game he falls off the horse and stuff like that. It's just flash scenes, right? He falls off the horse and stuff. That was the ending of the episode where they're walking on the tracks, and he just kind of like collapses, goes off. Ellie's begging him to open his eyes. She looks at his stomach. She sees that the blood's now pumping out after he fell off the horse. Takes his hand and kind of pushes it over top of it, but he's not opening his eyes, not showing any signs. Now, throughout this whole episode, there were, I believe, 3 times where Joel stopped and he'd be grabbing his chest, and he's like whatever. Now, I don't want to be the person spoiling anything if you're wanting to play the games, but Joel gets murdered in the second part of like the part 2 of Last of Us. So he's not dead. There's no way he could be dead right now. I mean, you can't say there's no chance. It's written differently. So there is a chance that he could maybe die, but for what happens in the game, Ellie somehow manages to get him and the horses to a house in a small town, and pretty much gets him all rested up and stitched up. Everything's taken care of. They're in the garage. She keeps going out doing the hunting and stuff like that. So like it's one of those things that, like, if you play the game, you know what's going to happen, sort of. It's also where one of the most scariest things happens. We'll find out for the next episode, where this is the restaurant scene where the one guy is basically keeps trying to, like, they're all cannibals in this town, and it's like you have to be really quiet and like get this guy 3 times, stab him 3 times, and just the most vicious murder scenes every time you get caught by this guy and you're playing as Ellie, right? So you can kind of imagine how horrific this next episode's going to be. Can't wait. Now, besides that, what else was there? Going back to this episode, Joel fell asleep. He said he was going to work two shifts. Now, this is right near the beginning. He fell asleep during the second shift. When he opened his eyes, there's Ellie, and she's holding his rifle. And she told him straight up, like, look, no, I watched my six. I was looking for tracks. I was doing this. I was doing that. I opened my eyes. I noticed you were sleeping. I stood guard, like you taught me, trying to show Joel, like, listen, I'm listening to you. You are teaching me how to do stuff. You're being like, without saying it, you're being like a father figure, and I'm being like the best student, daughter type of person I can be. You are the only person I have in my life. And with Joel being so how Joel is, it takes him a while to open up to the point where he was with Ellie, to the point where they took the horse together. So he's having a hard time up to that point. That little argument that night happened, where you can tell he is having a hard time forgiving himself in regards to his daughter dying, um, as well as what he's been doing over the last 20 years, whatever, in regards to staying alive. Like, you're killing people to stay alive because you have to. It's survival. Some people are bad, right? You're not going out killing the good people. You're killing the people that are bad. Who knows how many good people you may have killed in that time? We don't know, because the story takes place 20 years later. So who knows? A lot can happen in that time. Maybe that's why he's as hard as he is. A discussion between Maria and Ellie revealed some stuff in regards to why Maria's kind of like, I don't really like this, because she knows how Tommy was. Tommy followed Joel's footsteps, his little brother. So it's like, kind of like, like, well, come on, big brother, you show me how we want to survive. So um, there's forgiveness given there. Tommy doesn't want to leave because he's about to become a father. Maria's 3 months in with her pregnancy, and the original response from Joel was like not what Tommy wanted to hear. It was kind of upsetting, like, but then when they had their conversation later, it proved to be a much more better suggestion. Once again, sometimes you need time to say things proper. So it was a good lesson if you're depending how you're looking at all of it as a whole, for the whole episode. And that's what I want to say. I want to say that if you actually listen, no lawyer conversations right now. If you actually listen to the words of what someone says to you, no matter how upsetting it can be, if you wait just a little bit and give it time to brew, what will happen is you'll end up getting the right answer to come to you. So don't ever jump out of nowhere and answer something if it gets you angry, if it gets you upset, if it's just, take the other person's feelings into consideration before you say something, because that time you take can cause a domino effect in life. So like, I'll give you a quick example. You're not in the mood to talk to somebody. Someone comes and starts talking to you. You say, fuck off, I don't want to talk to someone. You're probably going to make them leave on, what the fuck? And then they're going to start turning around and talking like that to other people. Now they're in a bad mood because how you talk to them, right? But if you would have just bit your tongue, take a breath, like, listen, I don't really want to talk to me right now, but right now I'm not in the mood to talk to anyone, or say something like that. What's going to happen? They'll be understanding. You taking the time, you can pass on proper information that can allow communication to stay open, yet closed right now, not closed forever. Right? So keep that in mind. These are like, this whole episode gave a couple life lessons, but you need to be able to understand and control yourself. And that's the whole thing. With a lot of people in this world today, it's all about survival. And some people, they don't take the time to think. Without taking the time to think, you're not going to survive properly. So best thing I can say is watch the whole episode, learn what you need to learn in regards to how people really are and how people should be. Once you guys get all that information pretty much, collective, you can become better people too. So it's one of those things. Like, I'm quite happy with what the director and what the writer are doing. In the game, there's hints like that, but not quite. But that's the whole thing with the story. You follow the story, you end up learning. My phone just won't stop, and that's wonderful, isn't it? Yeah. Oh, yeah. See, that's why I like doing this at home. I use my laptop. I don't have to use my phone. I put my phone on silent. You guys don't keep hearing all the notifications. Like, sometimes I just want to tell everyone, go fuck yourselves. Fuck off. But once again, what's that really going to do? It's going to cause a domino effect. of negativity, right? I know there's a balance we got to keep, negative and positives, and everything even, yin and yang. But would it not be nice if the world was nicer to each other, not even to Mother Nature, even at that? So be good, be nice, be happy, and the only way you guys are going to do that is by learning from other people. And the writer right now is trying to teach a lesson, as far as I can see. That's what I noticed with my review on this episode, anyway. So once again, I'm Robert Johnson. I'll have next week's review as soon as I can see it, and do what I'm doing now. Also, I'm gonna go make sure when I get home I watched the full version of this episode so I can actually see if there's anything I missed. So you guys take care. I will talk to you as soon, I hope. One love. Whoop whoop. I say that because of this, like, for those who recognize that. Now, how do I stop this on a phone? Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Down here? I don't know how to stop this. Uh-oh. Yes.